granulocytes have visible granules in their cytoplasm. When viewed under a microscope, a stained blood smear, which you did in lab on Wednesday. So they call these granulocytes. Cyte means cell. So these are cells with granules in their cytoplasm. Those cells that don't have visible granules in their cytoplasm, in stained blood smears, when viewed under a light microscope, would be the agranulocytes. So what are our granulocytes? Okay, neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. Okay, and hopefully you can distinguish among them. Okay, certainly by Wednesday. And the agranulocytes, A means without, or not having. What are they? Monocytes and lymphocytes. Okay, the monocytes and lymphocytes. So we got 3 granulocytes, neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils, and 2 agranulocytes, monocytes and lymphocytes. We will recognize those, and again, know their relative abundance. What's the most abundant of the white blood cells?
Neutrophils.
Neutrophils. Remember the little ditty? Never let monkeys eat bananas. Okay? Never, that's neutrophil. Okay? What's next? Let
Lymphocytes.
Okay? Eat. Or excuse me, monkeys, all right? Monocytes. All right? That's third. Number 4, eat. Eosinophil.
Eosinophil.
And bananas, basophil. Okay? You should know that. All right, so let's look at these in order. We're going to start with the granulocytes. And the obvious granulocyte, which I'm sure you all saw, and probably more than you wanted to, was the neutrophil.
Neutrophil.
That's the most common white blood cell in normal human blood. It also has a fancy name. It's called a polymorphonuclear leukocyte. Leukocyte means white blood cell. Poly means many. Morpho means shapes or forms. Nuclear refers to nucleus. So this is a white blood cell whose nucleus takes many shapes or forms. And when you look at them, it seems like no two look exactly alike. They often mimic other cells too. Now, that monocyte you're looking for? No, it's a neutrophil. Okay? Or that basophil? No, it's a neutrophil. All right? And frequent it is. You can see they make about 60 to 70% of the white blood cells in normal blood. Don't worry about their percentage. You should know it's the most numerous of the white blood cells. And average size about 10 to 14 micrometers. You don't need to memorize that. But it's about twice the size of a red blood cell. It's phagocytic. What does that mean?
Eats everything.
Now, it ingests and digests particulate matter. It eats things, if you will, okay? Bacteria, viruses, cell debris. Part of the cleanup crew of the body. This is usually one of the first cells on the scene. You got an infection. Okay? Key feature, though, is it's got a multi-lobe nucleus, often appearing multinucleate, because the little connections between the lobes may be not very visible. And it does have granules, but they're very fine. Some of these are lysosomes. You may remember a lysosome. These are little bags of hydrolytic or digestive enzymes. And they use these, of course, to digest what they take in. We've also got some cell lysine proteins called defensins. So they're very good at helping to fight infections. Both as phagocytes, but they also can kill extracellular as well. They're attracted to sites of inflammation, again, by chemotaxis, follow chemical trail. And usually they will phagocytize or destroy the microorganisms that they encounter. Okay, the eosinophils, also granulocytes. These are much less numerous, only about 1 to 4% in normal human blood, about the same size as the neutrophils. Again, don't memorize this, but about twice the size of the red blood cells. Usually a bilobe nucleus, 2 lobes. But the characteristic feature, of course, is these very large, coarse, red staining granules. And they stain with acidic dyes like eosin. That's why they're called eosinophils. Love eosin. Okay? And these, of course, contain digestive enzymes, these granules. These parasites, these cells tend to attack multicellular parasites, particularly parasitic worms. So we have a worm infection, tapeworms, flukes, parasitic roundworms, okay? Usually have a high count of eosinophils, so eosinophilic. They also contribute to allergies, okay? You can see that, because they can ingest antigen-antibody complexes. The main thing is they attack these parasitic worms. Basophils are the third type of granulocyte. And they are not phagocytic. But what they do basically, and again, they're about the same size as the eosinophils and neutrophils. Again, usually a bilobe nucleus. And again, large granules of cytoplasm tend to be purple or dark blue instead of red. They contain in their granules histamine, heparin, and various inflammatory chemicals. And when they release these, of course, what does that do? It intensifies inflammation and contributes to allergies, or allergic reactions. Okay, then the agranulocytes, the lymphocytes, these are the second most numerous of white blood cells. And you can see they can vary considerably in size. From about the size or only slightly larger than a red blood cell to larger yet. But most of them are small, about the size or only slightly larger than a red blood cell. Again, don't memorize the numbers. Okay? And they tend to have a round nucleus with very little cytoplasm around it. Sometimes all you see, if the cytoplasm is not well stained, you see a big dark nucleus. And we find them in various lymphatic organs. The lymph nodes, the spleen, tonsils, thymus, and so on. We'll talk about that next week, okay, in lab. And they're involved in specific immunity. So if we ask what's the function of lymphocytes, specific immunity. And that's immunity or response directly against specific agent, a particular bacterial species, a virus, a fungus, or whatever. So very important. And some are associated with antibody production, which are proteins produced by the body in response to foreign antigens. Think of antigens as cell markers that we have in our own cells. Those are self or autoantigens, but other cells have different antigens, and that's what stimulates the immune response. You come in contact with these foreign antigens on different cells or viral particles or whatever. We have two categories of lymphocytes, and they are indistinguishable. You can't tell by looking at them. B lymphocytes are B cells, and T lymphocytes are T cells. B lymphocytes are associated with antibody production. T lymphocytes with what we call immune cell production. Antibodies can be very effective at neutralizing or destroying antigens, okay, that are attached to some foreign cell and thus destroying the cell if it's outside a body cell. But once these things get inside body cells, you've got the intracellular, like many bacteria can do, and viruses, because they have to replicate inside a cell, to protect from antibody. This is why you have this other arm of the immune response, which is the T lymphocyte. There's certain T lymphocytes that are killer Ts. They're also called cytotoxic Ts. They will destroy these abnormal cells. The result is then you can expose these parasites to antibody and destroy them out. But in both cases, it's very specific. The B and T cells are recognize a particular antigen on a particular parasite. And that's why it targets that one type of parasite. And very effective, much more so than what we initially started with, which is non-specific. Okay. And then lastly, the monocytes. And monocytes are the largest of white blood cells, okay, and they're third most numerous. And you can see they can vary considerably from about the size of a neutrophil to larger. But generally they are larger, they have more cytoplasm than a lymphocyte. They usually have an oval nucleus, which may be slightly indented on one side, sometimes described as being kind of kidney shaped, kind of indented, or sometimes actually U-shaped, but not always, as you see. And again, like lymphocytes, no cytoplasmic granules. Okay? Okay, I think we'll stop here since we're out of time. So. You'd be kind enough just to respond to the roll. Does anybody mind if I call you by your first name?